Hey, what's up? Welcome back din sa ating channel din sa Mobs TV. Alright, so tayo nagbabalik ulit mga babayan at ngayon ay pag-uusapan natin ang balita mula sa channel ni About Nature mga babayan. Nandiyan po sa ibaba yung full video link. Pero syempre bago ang lahat, please don't forget to subscribe at pakilike naman po ang ating video ngayon. Alright, so yan, wag na natin patagalin, umpisahan na natin to. Let's go!
太危险了！刚刚还有一台货车硬开过去，害大家摩托车都倒了。
哇塞，吓死人了！
Typhoon Grabe live, storm hits China, forcing thousands to flee after 25 killed in Taiwan and Philippines. Typhoon Grabe has made landfall in China after sweeping across Taiwan, where it flooded streets, knocked out power, and killed at least 3 people. Emergency responses were put in place and flights and trains have been cancelled in Fujian. More than 240,000 people have been forced to flee their homes. The typhoon killed 22 people in the Philippines on its way past that country, adding to flooding and landslides from already high monsoon rainfall and taking the total death toll from the storm up to 25. A cargo ship off Taiwan and an oil tanker off the Philippines sank on Thursday morning, both in rough seas. In the Philippines, authorities are searching for a missing crew member and warn they face a race against time to contain a huge oil spill that is heading for Manila. In Taiwan, 2 people were killed on Wednesday before the storm made landfall around midnight, and a 78-year-old man died after his home was hit by a mudslide on Thursday afternoon, Taiwan's central news agency said. Another 380 people were reported injured. After hitting the Chinese coast, the storm is expected to bring heavy rains to inland areas including the capital Beijing over the next 3 days, including areas that have already been soaked for days. Chinese city of Fujian evacuated. Ahead of the typhoon's arrival in China, 240,800 people in Fujian were evacuated. Despite slightly weakening since its landfall in Fujian's Pushan, a city of over 3 million, Gemi and its giant cloud bands are forecast to unleash intense rainfall in at least 10 Chinese provinces in the coming days. The arrival of Grabe has drawn comparisons with Typhoon Doksuri last year, which triggered historic flooding as far north as Beijing and caused nationwide losses of nearly $30 billion. Authorities said water levels in the lower reaches of the Yangtze River, as well as the vast freshwater lakes of Poyang and Dongting in central China, could rise, returning to dangerous levels seen in early July after intense summer rains. Fears over flooding in China as Grabe hits. Typhoon Grabe roared into southeastern China on Thursday night after churning across the Taiwan Strait, prompting warnings of swelling rivers, flash floods, and waterlogging in cities and provinces that were hit by extreme rains just several weeks ago. Grabe, the third and most powerful typhoon to hit China's eastern seaboard this year, made landfall in Fujian province at 7:50 p.m., 11:50 GMT, after whipping Taiwan with gusts of up to 227 kilometers per hour, 141 miles per hour, some of the strongest winds recorded in the western Pacific Ocean. Typhoon weakens to severe tropical storm. Typhoon Grabe has weakened into a severe tropical storm over southeastern China, according to the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, Pagbaha. Flood warnings in China. Authorities in China have warned of swelling rivers, flash floods, and waterlogging in cities and provinces that were hit by extreme rain just several weeks ago. Grabe, the third and most powerful typhoon to hit China's eastern seaboard this year, made landfall in Fujian province. Typhoon hits Chinese coast. The typhoon has made landfall in China after sweeping across Taiwan, where it caused landslides and flooding in low-lying areas and left 3 people dead. In China's coastal Fujian province, more than 240,000 people have been forced to flee as it approached, the official Xinhua news agency said. After hitting the coast, the storm is expected to bring heavy rains to inland areas including the capital Beijing over the next 3 days. A 78-year-old man in Taiwan died when his home was hit by a mudslide on Thursday afternoon, Taiwan's central news agency said, and 2 people were killed on Wednesday before the storm made landfall around midnight. Another 380 people were reported to have been injured. A third death on Wednesday. A driver pinned old man in Taiwan died when his home was hit by a mudslide on Thursday afternoon, Taiwan's central news agency said, and 2 people were killed on Wednesday before the storm made landfall around midnight. Another 380 people were reported to have been injured. A third death on Wednesday. A driver pinned under an overturned excavator was initially attributed to the typhoon but later was determined not be linked, the news agency said. Typhoon Grabe is expected to bring heavy to very intense rains over vast swathes of China from Thursday, the Water Resources Ministry warned. The rains are expected to last for a week, fueled by the typhoon's abundant moisture it added. China's National Meteorological Center has issued a red alert, the highest level according to Xinhua. Emergency responses were put in place and flights and trains have been canceled in Fujian as the typhoon is expected to bring heavy rainfall and gale force winds to parts of southeast China that have already been soaked in rain for days. Chinese weather forecasters said Grabe will pass through Fujian province later on Thursday and head inland, gradually moving northward with less intensity. But weather forecasters are expecting heavy rain in many areas as it tracks north. Government officials have already prepared for heavy rain and flooding, raising advisories and warnings in the coastal provinces of Fujian and Zhejiang. In Fujian, government officials have relocated about 150,000 people, mainly from coastal fishing communities, state media reported. As gale force winds picked up, officials in Jiaxing and Zhejiang province suspended passenger waterway routes for up to 3 days. Most flights were canceled at airports in Fuzhou and Quanzhou in Fujian and Wenzhou in Zhejiang, according to the Veriflight app. Guangzhou rail officials suspended some trains that passed through typhoon-affected areas, according to CTV. Meanwhile, North China is experiencing heavy rain from summer storms around a separate weather system. Officials in capital Beijing upgraded and issued a red warning late on Wednesday night for torrential rain expected through most of Thursday, according to Chinese state media. Some areas have already experienced heavy rain and emergency plans were activated, with more than 25,000 people evacuated, according to Beijing Daily. Some train services were also suspended at the Beijing West Railway Station, state media said. The Beijing Fangshan District Meteorological Observatory expects that by 10 a.m., 2 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, many parts of the city will have more than 150 millimeters, 6 inches of rainfall in 6 hours, and in some other areas more than 200 millimeters, 8 inches, in 24 hours, state television reported.